And we're live. Hey, what's up, you guys? It is Tyler. Welcome to the Tyler Williams channel. I am here doing another review. Now, before you start, I did cut my hair. I know all of you are going to realize that. Hair is in a ponytail right now, which is why it looks like it's like short. Like I didn't cut my hair completely off, just letting you guys know. Chewing gum right now. Probably shouldn't be doing that. But we're here to talk about American Horror Story. Season 6, Chapter 6, which was a very heavily debated and discussed episode for the past week. Ever since Chapter 5 concluded, this has been the chapter that's been on everybody's mind. We kept on hearing from producers, from the creator himself, Ryan Murphy. There's going to be a twist coming. There's going to be something thrown in that you're not going to see coming. And everybody's just going on and on, like, what is it going to be? Like, is Billy Dean Howard behind this? Are the witches from Coven coming back? Like, how is this tied to other seasons? Like, we're all trying to take it in, trying to figure out and piece things together on how this is exactly related to whatever they could be talking about, because they didn't give anything away, really. So everyone's trying to, like, scramble what they can together to figure this out. Meanwhile, I wasn't really trying to piece things together because I wanted to see how the story just played out. Don't get me wrong, I was looking at theories. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I wasn't looking at theories online about what it possibly could be. Some of the theories were really good and would really have worked in this episode. But I think about, of all the series, all of the theories I've seen, I don't think any of them were even used in this episode at all. So it looks like everyone's theory about this episode were pretty much off. Maybe some people had right theories that I didn't see. Some more than others, but most of the ones I've seen, all of them I've seen, were pretty much wrong. So let's get into this episode, shall we? Sorry if you had to see that. I just had to take that out. Otherwise, I'm just going to, like, annoyingly do it. Okay, so we start off this episode. No, let's not even start off with the beginning of this episode. Let's start with the end of Chapter 5. So at the end of Chapter 5, we saw the conclusion of the show, My Roanoke Nightmare. We saw Shelby, Matt, and Lee get away from the house with Flora. And they all live happily ever after, even though Shelby and everyone else in the house still gets PTSD from it. Because, you know, they've been in that house for days, weeks, trying to, like, you know, deal with that. Even though they could have moved out at any point in time, they decided to stay in the house, but hey, that's their call, not mine. If I was them, I would have moved out a long time ago, but heck. Now, to the beginning of this episode. So, in the beginning of this episode, we saw the this guy. He said, that camera does not stop rolling. He's walking towards this, like, we're not on the set of My Roanoke Nightmare anymore. We're not in the house. We're behind the scenes, so to speak. So we see this guy, and he's like, and he's talking to his cameraman, because this is being shot like live action shooting. He's like, those cameras do not stop rolling. Whatever I say, whatever I do, whatever anyone else says, those cameras do not stop rolling. Got it? And they're like, yeah, we got it. And from the get-go, you don't get the point, as people have said. That is the network president. The network president of the network that ran My Roanoke Nightmare. His name is Sydney. So he goes into an office full of members that are producers of the show My Roanoke Nightmare. And he comes in with the idea of, look, I had this idea. We did great on ratings. We got so many followers on Twitter, so many fan pages up, a lot of likes on Facebook. We garnered a big enough audience to where I think we can have a sequel, a spin-off series, so to speak, that I think will do bigger ratings, will do bigger business for us, will make us more money, all that kind of stuff. You know, being a salesman. So he proposes the idea to them of a show where they put the actors who portray the real characters and the real characters themselves all in one house, in like a Big Brother type of feel, and put cameras all in the house and track their movement for 3 days and see how they react to being in this house, like, once again for the next 3 days, and call it Return to Roanoke, 3 Days in Hell. I think that's what it's called. Return to Roanoke, 3 Days in Hell. And at first, they're kind of iffy. Like, it sounds like a good idea, but it sounds pretty dangerous. And he's like, well, ghosts aren't real. Do you actually believe in that? And they're like, yeah, of course we don't believe in that. So they're like, all right, we'll go along with it. So now for the next few minutes, it's Sydney trying to get together with a bunch of people because, he has to get the actors and actresses that were on the show, which was Sarah Paulson, Evan Peters, Angela Bassett, who played Lee, Matt, and Shelby, and then the Butcher, played by Kathy Bates. And then he has to go and get the real people, which is Lily Rabe. I am so sorry. I do not remember the actor and actress's name that were really Lee and Matt. I do not know their real names. I apologize. I really don't know their real names. But those characters. So, okay. That's all fine and dandy up until like they try to get in tap with the real Shelby, and the real Shelby's like, I don't want to do it. I have to go back to that house again, and it's very traumatizing. And I just don't want to go back to the house again. I do not want to revisit that again. And they're like, well, we're going to pop a big rating. Let's go and pull some more money. She's like, I just don't want to do it. And they're like, well, Matt's going to be there. And we get a kind of like a scene of Shelby. She was caught with Cuba Gooding Jr., whose real actor name in the show is Dominic Banks. Now, this is where a lot of people are going to get sidetracked. So what I'm going to do is we're going to, instead of saying the name of each character, like the real this, the real that, the fake this, fake that, I'm going to say it once, but after that, I'm just going to start calling them by their real actor and actress's name, like Cuba Gooding Jr., Lily Rabe, and all that kind of stuff. So we see Lily Rabe. She was out with Cuba Gooding Jr., which I'm going to reiterate is the real Shelby, and the actor who portrayed Matt. They hooked up or whatever, and that caused Shelby to break up with Matt. The real Shelby and the real Matt to break up. They separated. So she said, okay, I'll do whatever it takes to get closer to Matt. Like the real Matt, like my husband Matt. I'll do whatever it takes to get closer to my husband Matt. But he's like, do not bring Cuba Gooding. They're not going to say the real actor's name. It's like Dominic Banks, and I'm not going to remember their names. I'm just going to call my real actor's name and actress's name. It's like, do not bring Cuba Gooding Jr. to the set. I do not want him here. He is not supposed to be here. I want to connect with the real Matt, not the fake one. Do not bring him. Please do not bring him. And they're like, all right, we won't bring him. And then as soon as they get in the car, he's like, please look up Cuba Gooding Jr. right now. Let me get a location for him. I'm like, wow, he ain't shit. So now they're in contact with everybody else. So they start to get in contact with the real Lee. And the real Lee, she's like, oh, yeah, she's on a talk show. She's like, yeah, I signed on to the next season of, the spinoff series of Roanoke, Return to Roanoke. And everyone's like, well, you do know there's like a bunch of rumors and whatnot going around that you were the one who killed Mason. And she's like, yeah, I know. I keep on denying it. I just don't want to keep on, like, all that kind of stuff. Like, she's just denying it. Like, it's very hard to believe I didn't do it. So she has those allegations put against her. Then we get to the fake Lee, Angela Bassett. And she's like, yeah, I signed on too, but I'm not appreciating that I was the one who had to portray the fake Lee. And because I betrayed the fake Lee, the real Lee is getting heat for killing Mason. But I am also getting heat for killing Mason, and I had nothing to do with it. I'm portraying the real person, and I'm getting all the death threats. I'm getting this and that thrown at me. I'm getting all the hate because of what she did, and I'm just trying to portray her character. Like, this isn't fair. But she goes on about her day. She signs a contract, whatnot. Okay, so then we get into, let's see, real Matt. He signed on. we get on to the next group. We get on to the woman who portrayed Shelby, Sarah Paulson, and the guy who portrayed that old British dude from episode 5, Evan Peters. They're all married, and Sarah Paulson has this British accent, which I am just not gang ho about. Like, I can really do without the accent, Sarah. Like, Sarah, I love you. You're a great actress. Your British accent, it's not working for me. It's not on. You don't need it. I mean, I there's nothing you can do about it now. The show's already been recorded, so it's like I couldn't do without the British accent. The British accent kind of got annoying after a while, but hey, what are you gonna do? So all the characters, needless to say, are signed on except for the woman who played the butcher, which is Kathy Bates. They go to Kathy Bates and I'm like, yeah, we're signing you. She's like, yeah, I want to sign on. And they're like, well, they're basically like, well, there were a video we have to show you about you taking your role too far, where she was out and somewhere in Hollywood with a butcher knife, scaring people off like she was really the butcher. And they're like, well, what's this? And they're like, well, she's like, well, you know, I just really get in my character. And I'm like, yeah, we get that, but we've also looked into your case and you have show signs of like some schizophrenia or something like that. And she's like, and they're like, well, you know, and they're like, well, you're clinically and mentally unstable and you've shown this publicly. And she's like, well, does this mean I'm not going to be on the show? He's like, yeah, you're not going to be on the show. He's like, but I'm the butcher. The show needs the but. He's like, you're not going to be on the show. You can't be on the show. So they get out of there. She's like screaming a bunch of stuff. Mind you, Sydney is with this woman. I don't exactly remember the woman's name. She wasn't really that relevant to what happened. So Sydney and the woman, they walk off. They go onto the set of My Roanoke Nightmare. Basically, they're setting up the jump scares for faked jump scares for the actors and actresses. And I'm like, y'all just trying to send these people into a very terrible state of trauma and just everything bad under the sun for these people. Like, don't get me wrong, the actors and actresses that portrayed the characters, they're fine. They're going to get jump scares. They're going to be like, ooh, that scared me. But we talk about the real Shelby, the real Matt. They're gonna like be pissing and shit in their pants, probably like having flashbacks, ready to kill themselves. I'm like, this is y'all, yeah, like Shelby ain't shit. Like, why you gotta do this? At least if he knows that there's a possibility that there really can be ghosts there, why don't you just let them naturally like get scared by the ghosts? Like, you don't gotta set up all these jump scares and whatnot. Needless to say, he does anyway. So they do come across a tree with pig guts splattered everywhere, and they ignore it. The girl says, all right, I'm not just going to ignore this. And he's like, well, yeah, you are going to ignore it because it's not that big of a deal. It's probably just Agnes. It's probably just Kathy Bates. He's like, no, this is all too much. You just keep on ignoring things. You're not even paying attention to me. I'm out of here. She just leaves in her car. Now, mind you, cameras are set up everywhere, even inside of the car. So she's driving off, and she comes across the real butcher. And she's like, I don't even want to know who that is. So she drives around the butcher. She goes straight, and in the back of her car is the pig. The pig takes her by the hand. The camera goes all over the place, and it looks like she died, basically. So they said her body was never found. Needless to say, she died. We get back to the sets. All the actors and actresses are now appearing on the sets. I'm sorry if I'm jumping around, if I'm missing points. I'm taking midterms, just trying to get back to like studying. So I gotta skip around a few things, needless to say. I'm trying to tell key points here. So they get back to the house. Actors and actresses are all in the house, except for Cuba Gooding Jr. He showed up a little bit late. I don't know if they intentionally delayed his appearance or if he was like late or something, but everyone's in the house. They're having a good time for the moment being. They see some signs of some jump scares, and Matt's like, I have a bad feeling about this. I don't want to be here. And Sydney's like, yeah, Matt, it's going to be okay. Well, Sydney's back there. She's trying to get back with Matt, the real Matt. I keep on saying Sydney. Lily Robbie's trying to get back together with the real Matt. And the real Lee's like, hell no, you ain't getting back together, my brother. It's all because of you. He went into this trauma. We were left here. And you did this and that. And you could have did this. And that's the reason why you're not with him, you crazy ass bitch. Da, da, da. I'm like, oh my God. She's just going off on her. And I'm just like, girl. So I'm about to get slapped. But needless to say, that argument kind of ended right there. So then during that whole spiel, was it during the spiel or was it after the spiel? After that whole spiel, I would say that what happened? Oh, the real what's his name? The real Matt showed up. Cuba Gooding Jr. showed up, and then they cut to a scene where the fake Matt, I said the real Matt, Cuba Gooding. The fake Matt, I don't know. The fake Matt is Cuba Gooding Jr. I do not remember the real Matt's name. So the real Matt is like, oh, I've been waiting all day for this guy to show up, because if you guys remember, the real Shelby, Lily Rabe, cheated on the real Matt with fake Matt, Cuba Jr. So now the fake Matt is walking into that house with the real Matt in there, and neither Lily Rabe, the real Matt, or the fake Matt knew they were going to be there. So when they come in, the fake Matt, the real Matt charges at the fake Matt, and they start fighting. And I'm like, woo! Fight. No, I wasn't saying that, but like everyone's in the house trying to break it up, and they get to breaking it up. They end up breaking it up, so that happens. Some ordeal happens upstairs when Sarah Paulson was taking a shower, and then out of nowhere, the pig appeared, because pig just keeps on appearing everywhere. The pig appeared. She ran downstairs screaming like, "Oh my God, they jump scared me!" Yeah, and then Evan Peters is like, "You're not gonna scare my wife, God damn it!" He ran off the steps looking for the pig, because at this point they don't know if it's the pig or if it's the real pig, if it's the pig actor, like someone act like a pig, because they're expecting some of these jump scares, if not all of these jump scares, to be mimicked or faked. They're expecting these jump scares, these scenes, to be faked for them to react, for them to be scared. They're expecting that. So he's like, okay, whoever the hell did that, they're about to get their head chopped off. So he goes upstairs, he's running, he's looking for the pig. The pig's nowhere to be seen. Looks in a closet all over the place. And needless to say, the Merge sisters, the real Merge sisters, come out of nowhere with knives, and they start stabbing him, slicing his throat, and they go back downstairs. The Merge sisters go back downstairs. We get back downstairs to the cameras, because you remember there's cameras all over the house. So we get back downstairs, and we see that Matt, real Matt, is walking into a room, the Murd room, where you see MURDE, and they didn't get a chance to finish it because they had to flee. So he goes back in that room, and he sees the word is complete. Murder. And he's like, oh shit. The R is for Rory. And Rory is Evan Peters. And he's like, oh shit. So he goes into the room, he's slowly walking in, he's like, the R is for Rory. And they it looks like they don't get it at first, but then I guess they kind of get it in the end. And the episode ends right there. And I thought it was actually pretty interesting, the spin that they put on it. I mean, it wasn't really much of a spin, because if you watch the preview for the episode, you kind of got a gist of what would happen. So essentially what they did is they took the actors from the show, the actors and actresses from the show, and the real people, and put them all in one house for 3 days with the blood moon, with all the freaks and butchers and pigs and all the other Priscillas they can gather. So that's essentially what this whole next 3 or 4 episodes is going to be. It's going to be the actors, actresses, and real people trying to survive in this house. So that's going to be pretty interesting. We've turned a corner here from the Roanoke TV show and this flashback and this whole back and forth between the real actresses and the portrayal. We turned that corner and turned into they're all in one house now. And now they all have to survive. So that's going to be interesting for me to see for the next 4 Wednesdays. I can't wait. So once again, if you have tuned into this channel, if you tuned into this video, thank you all for watching. I swim over here. Sorry about that. Thank you all for watching this video. Make sure if you have not subscribed to this channel, you subscribe, like this video, share it. Make sure everyone knows that I review American Horror Story each and every single week. Walking Dead review this Sunday. We'll be doing some Walking Dead videos following up to that, leading up to that. Make sure if you love The Walking Dead, you stay tuned to this channel because I will be doing a review for Walking Dead this Sunday. That being said, I love you guys, and I'll talk to you all later. Love you guys once again. Peace out.